Alright, so it's 10:15 a.m. on the 22nd day of the month of Leaf Fall. You're in Ribcage in the Outlands. You have just had your big fight with the red vampire mist and its spawn. Musharraf Virtue, the Despatian tiefling knight that you had met when you first got into Ribcage, showed up at the last minute and saved your asses. And now you're rushing down to the Citadel to meet with your lawyer so that you're not late to your appointment, which you are already 15 minutes late for. So you're entering through the main entrance of the Citadel, and there's a big central courtyard and all the doors that lead to the various subsections of the fortress. And by that big statue of the fat tiefling that's in the center of the courtyard, you see your lawyer, Serena Noose. She's in her little suit. She waves at y'all from a distance. This is your one chance to talk or get anything off your chest before you meet with the lawyer. You say anything to Musharraf. You do notice as you enter the courtyard and look around and kind of make sure you got your briefcase on you and stuff, that the monk, Merg, that had been assigned to watch you, you haven't seen him. In fact, you realize you haven't seen him since the fight.
That's peculiar. Hey, did you see Merg?
I haven't seen him anywhere.
Where'd he go?
Last thing I remember, I was being attacked by the tiefling. I think he was somewhere right behind me.
Who's the other gentleman that was with us? The one who saved us, kind of?
Musharraf.
He's the
Musharraf. Did you see where Merg went?
Merg? Who's Merg?
He's the...
He is the Zerai monk that was tailing Hartmann.
I don't remember noticing a Gesserai monk. Why was he tailing you, boy?
Well, I have business with him and his people. Evidently, I need some kind of initiation for my... Well, it's a long story. Look, I don't want to get into it. We have a fucking appointment to get to.
I quickly just fill him in.
Yeah.
We were resurrected through Hecate and Avernus because we were wrongfully brought there by these were-ravens after we died. But after we were resurrected, we're just trying to get home, and due to he has a new body and so do I, he was hoping to find some more information about his new way of living.
Well, he's also willing to give us he's willing to guide us through Sigil, and that's how we could possibly get home.
Oh. And he was also possibly willing to be our guide through Sigil.
Oh, y'all are both capable. You don't have to like filter everything he says. He can say it himself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's weird.
You didn't see him? You didn't see him disappear off anywhere? Or?
No, I can't say I remember noticing. I just remember seeing you as the only Gesserai there when I came up on y'all. Huh. Anyway, looks like your lawyer's over there. You don't got much more time.
Alright.
There's a clock. There's like clocks over all the main doors on the inside of the Citadel. And like you notice the one over the palace is 15 minutes past the hour.
Oh, jeez. Come on, we gotta make this appointment.
Yeah, we gotta go.
So Serena walks up to meet y'all as you're approaching her. She's like, we gotta go, guys. Do you have your case files you wanted to submit for evidence?
I grabbed the briefcase. I got them all right here.
Alright, well, I'll go ahead and take that off your hands. I'm going to have to register these when we get inside.
All good. Hand her the briefcase, and let's mosey on inside.
Alright, let's get some session-wide initiative, by the way, before we get any further.
Should I do red or
one
blue?
of you roll for Musharraf, too.
Oh, I'll do the blue one for Musharraf.
leads you all up to the palace doors. Some mercy killer guards open them after she shows them a pass. Y'all head inside. Big entryway. You can see like this big giant courtyard with stairs leading off to various sections. Everything's appointed real nice. Good carpeting, nice marble floors. A lot of money's been poured into this building. There's some Modron reception type folks at a desk as you'll enter in. Serena checks in, hands over the briefcase to them, and then tells y'all that you're gonna have to sign in on the guest log.
All right.
So you both sign in on the ledger, and
Reed.
hustles y'all through and up some stairs to a big open courtroom. There's some various like attendants of state. There's some Modrons around, and sitting up on this throne, overlooking it all, is this really beautiful woman who looks almost angelic. Blonde hair, bright blue eyes, really gorgeous. But you can tell she's not like an Asimar, which is a half angel. She is some sort of tiefling because she does have two little tiny horns. That's really like the only thing that seems devilish about her. And she's sitting in judgment and dismissing somebody, and looks a little impatient as y'all walk up. Seems to maybe have a look in her eye like she's just going to go ahead and summarily dismiss y'all's petition just out of the fact that y'all are late. Except Musharraf steps forward and asks to speak to her. They seem to know each other. Musharraf, this is your first indication that Musharraf's actually a pretty respected officer here in the city. Yes. And he explains to the governor, whose name is Yinsha Parax, that what just happened with y'all, that y'all valiantly faced off against the red vampire mist that's been plaguing this city for the last year, and that's also why you're late. And he was there to help, and he's a mercy killer. They're not liars. In fact, they specifically are designed to be able to detect lies, and so everything he says is pretty much taken as gospel. So what's going to happen is Insha comes down off of her throne to personally thank both of y'all for your bravery in defeating this vampire menace.
Our pleasure.
That's been ruining the peace in her city streets. Y'all are in bad condition to be having any kind of meeting right now with a government official. Your clothes are all damaged. You're all bloody. So she's going to have a couple of her clerks take you back to the infirmary here in the palace. Y'all will be able to get a long rest, and she will see y'all as soon as y'all are up later on in the afternoon. Don't worry about your paperwork. I'll go over everything with your lawyer while you're asleep.
Nice. Thank you.
So y'all are taken off to an infirmary. Each get like your own little small room and a bed, and some healers or house staff or whatever. They'll bring you like some nice savory soup.
Oh, nice.
That'll help both of y'all like
delicious soup.
Get to sleep, even though it's not drugged or anything.
Yeah, just nice soup. So our hit points go all the way back up?
So you take a long rest. Both of you take a long rest. Upon awakening, you found like all your possessions have been like cleaned.
What?
And are neatly stacked. They've taken away those shitty outfits, those laborer outfits you bought in hell, and you each have a nice set of fine clothes that are appropriate to your class.
So I got fighter clothes.
Well, your thing, like, this is Outlands fashion, so it's a bit more like modernistic than what y'all are used to back in Faerun. It's kind of a pre-industrial kind of look, closer to like modern day suits and shit. Your outfit would be something that could be incorporated so that you can wear your chainmail with it easily. So it'd be kind of like a swashbucklery kind of outfit, including you get a nice fancy hat.
Oh, like the Raskin hat?
A little bit, like it's a brimmed hat. It's dark, and it has like a big black peacock feather sticking out of it.
Ooh. Is it the kind that's like has the bulb right there? It's folded up on the side and peacock feathers shooting out.
Yeah, and kind of a pointed towards the front.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah. You get like these really elegant druid robes that are like this nice dark blue on the outside and like a seafoam green on the inner lining, and has like some gold filigree trim and stuff. and also designed to go well with your thing, wear your chainmail under it, and it all looks good. And it has like a tunic thing that goes with it, and some sort of like loose breathing pants.
Sweet.
And some boots that are fitted for your thick webby feet.
Sweet. Webbed boots.
So as you get up and y'all are getting dressed in your new clothes, one of the attendants comes up and lets you know that you've been invited to come join Governor Parrick's for dinner as soon as y'all are ready. And she can just talk with y'all then.
Yeah, we make sure we look our very best. You know, I actually comb my hair for once in my life.
Yep. You have hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't, loser.
I kind of do. Kind of don't.
Smeagol hair.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
I'm kidding.
Most Githzerai are depicted as having shaved heads, but that's not because they're like
Bald.
racially bald.
Monk thing.
Yeah, usually. I'm sure you probably still have your Hartmann hair.
Yeah. Alright. You get dressed. You're taken down some halls into a big dining chamber, and to your surprise, right off the bat, the governor is there to greet y'all as y'all enter the room, and behind it there's a big appointed state table, and then a bunch of other tables further beyond, and the room was full of people, mostly tieflings because of the nature of what the city is, and they all start bursting out in applause as y'all come into the room, and Yinsha, the governess, she turns and is like, "May I present to you our fearless vampire killers?"
I slowly take my hat off and put it to my chest, and then just like bow in respect.
I'm just stunned and like, there's so many people here. I was not expecting this.
Bow, man. Bow, Reed.
I bow a little awkwardly.
So basically how this is going to work is y'all are going to be seated at the table.
Alright.
In the center at the main chair, you'll have Yinsha. Y'all are both flanking her, and you'll have various people at this main table. Beyond this, there's like a bunch of like representatives of the town. They're just kind of there just for the political show of this big dinner honoring that y'all as the fearless vampire killers. And basically, you're gonna have a couple of rounds where if you want to have some small talk with the people next to you, you can. The way the table is kind of divided is, you know, like you'll be able to ask people on this side questions, you'll be able to ask people on this side questions. The person that is seated next to you that is not Yinsha, the person Sabass, is this old looking human male with a red robe.
Ooh.
Who's sat down next to you. He's the Archmage of the town. And otherwise, it's a bunch of senators. There's also the head bishop. And, which y'all had the higher? Reed. Alright, so Reed, you're sitting here at this dinner. The drinks are being served, but the main meal has not come out yet. So you have enough time. You can ask, let's say, 2 questions each. We'll just go back and forth. You can also ask questions through Musharraf. I guess he's going to control Musharraf since he's on your side, that side of the table.
Okay.
So of these various people that you have here that you can chat with,
I would like to talk to Sabass.
what would you like to say to Sabass?
I would like to ask him if he was the fabled mage of, or the red mage of Thay. And like, ask him of, like, what's he doing here? Like, why is he in this town? I've noticed that his tower is very magical, and just curious why he was here instead of possibly nowhere else.
Let's see, how would he answer that? He is here because he is a very old, very influential mage back home in the land of Thay. And he is actually the Archmage of 2 cities, because he is the Archmage of his home city of Byzanter, as well as being the Archmage of Ribcage. And that's largely because he just extended his tower up through the plains by creating a permanent planar gate in the middle of his tower. And as this way for him to be able to come up here and conduct research easily, and have access to a network of spies and informants that can keep him informed on activities on the outer plains, without having to travel very far from his home. And he's here specifically tonight because he was invited to dinner and had heard that a couple of outsiders had popped up into town and had taken care of this damn vampire problem, so he figured, you know, do Yinsha a favor and show up for her little dinner. And make an appearance.
And the second question I have for him would be, has he ever heard of an old magic called a devastation orb?
This devastation orbs, that had something to do with the old cults of elemental evil, I want to believe.
Yeah, and I managed to actually have one in my possession, which has recently been drained, so it's ripe for the picking.
Interesting. They haven't been heard from in centuries.
Yeah. I managed to stumble upon one while I was back on Faerun. It was actually quite just a...
Oh, you've traveled to Faerun before, huh?
Actually, that's my home. My original body was of that of a furbolg from the forest of Neverwinter. But through my druidic belief and the power of Hecate, I was reincarnated as a titan.
You were reincarnated by Hecate. Interesting. Don't know much about her. She's one of the gods from the human homeworld, and is not typically involved in any of the businesses of Faerun. I do know that she is a goddess of necromancy and deceit. So there might be consequences to her reincarnating you, but when the alternative is being a dead soul in hell, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do, son. Alright, Micah, your turn.
Alright.
Who do you want to talk to? If anyone.
I think the human, mainly because I myself was originally one.
What human?
The
There's
Archmage.
no human on, it's got to be on your side of the table.
Yeah, the Archmage, Sabass of Thay.
That's
You
on my
can't-
side.
Yeah, you can't talk
Alright,
to...
you have
Oh.
Shan,
Oh.
Musha,
You gotta think about how you're sitting.
Ivlium, and
Shan.
Fikwish. Yeah.
So there's
Right.
Shan, Yinsha.
And
Where's
there's
Shan?
no- Notes on
Shan,
the thing as
vampire,
to what these-
tiefling, Ammonite,
Huh.
tiefling, dystopian.
Lord Shan's a vampire?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jeez, hell yeah, I'll talk to him. Okay, I look at Shan, and I make a wisdom check to see if I notice if he's a vampire or not.
No, you notice he's very obviously a vampire. He's not hiding it.
Okay.
He's one of the
Mammonite tieflings you don't really know yet, but they're gray-skinned and kind of sickly looking, almost like they kind of already kind of have this vaguely kind of undead pallor to them, and it's just like incredibly enhanced because this guy actually is a vampire. He's dressed in real elegant clothes.
Why? I want to ask him why. Why is he on the board? Yeah. What? I thought. Wait, if he's a vampire, wouldn't he be alleged to
Lord.
the vampire?
No.
No, he's a different vampire. Remember, there was vampires originally here, and they were peaceful. But then whenever the vampire
Well,
mist
like
came
let him ask him the question. Like, so you're asking. I can phrase it in a definitive way. You're asking him why he's not affected by the destruction of the red mist.
That's actually, yeah. Well, how come you weren't affected by the destruction of the red mist I slayed?
I'm a different lineage of vampire.
Oh.
You destroy the master vampire of any particular clan, everyone who created by that master vampire will be destroyed. But there's multiple master vampires scattered throughout the plains, so
How long has this been an issue? The vampires attacking the city.
like only for about a year or so now.
Oh.
Those associated with my clan are already, we're registered. We abide by certain legal codes. We're all part of the cult of Canchelsis. We only feed off of voluntary followers. We don't take people off the street at random, but these vampires that the mist we're creating would, awaken into undeath, crazed and hungry and uncontrollable. And they've been being destroyed as we go along, but every night the mist would create one or two more new ones, and so it's been an ongoing struggle. And the fact that y'all managed to destroy the mist has been quite a good service to us.
Really? In what ways?
Well, for one thing, it help. It'll for my own clan and kin and my own house, as I am the Lord of House Shan. It'll certainly make security costs in our district go down a lot, and also no longer besmirch the reputation of my law-abiding vampires.
Oh, so there was some kind of like racial.
Well, you have a bunch of vampires going around the town attacking random
Right.
people. It makes the vampires who are not doing that and who are abiding by the law look bad. You know, people's guilt by association and all that.
So this is good for our status, I would assume.
That's good for my status. And yes, and then you, obviously, you're having a state dinner thrown in your name, so this is the very definition of status.
Lovely.
Okay, Reed.
Alright.
Another.
I
Want
want
to talk to Sabass some more?
Yeah. I asked him to share a glass of wine with me, and I was like awestruck by the fact he managed to create a portal through planes to connect his tower in such a way. That is mind-blowing.
He'll explain that he had to pre-build the tower with the ritual circle for making the gate built into the levels, and he had to cast a planar gate spell into it once a day for a year solid to make it permanent. But if you do that, you can make a spell a permanent effect depending on the spell.
That is fascinating. That's
You can do that with wards, gates, all sorts of things. But it takes time and dedication, and because you have to, if you miss one day, you got to start from scratch.
But theoretically, you would also be able to create a portal to, let's say, not Asgard, Olympus.
There's ways through. I mean, planar gating out here in the plains. It depends on where you are. You need to be in an adjacent realm.
An adjacent realm. Because with the whole resurrection that I've had to go through, the only thing she really wanted in return was to be remembered, so I am trying to become the new priest of Hecate and trying to get her sandal back to Mount Olympus. Therefore, she is no longer a demonic god in a way, but as a true god of Olympus.
I believe I'm the one in possession of the sandal, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's obviously more to this than what you're saying here, son. What exactly did Hecate ask you to do?
She asked me to deliver the sandal to the steps of Athena. Hera, my bad. To the steps of Hera's temple. And after that, to create a new holy place and spread her word throughout either Faerun or whichever land I choose to stay in.
Okay. Well, I guess there's no harm in that, necessarily. But you should be careful of what instructions she gives you, because as I say, she is a goddess of deceit, and some things might not necessarily pan out the way you want them to. But after that, so what is your intention? You say you're from Faerun, from Neverwinter.
Yes, I need to go back. The last thing I was doing was trying to unite the central part of Neverwinter all the way up to the Sword Mountains to try to protect this dragon named Cryovane, to possibly just move her so that if what's their name?
Tiamat.
Tiamat, yeah.
So if Tiamat does become resurrected, that she would have a possible chance to escape.
If Tiamat becomes resurrected, this isn't the best place to talk about some things. So after the dinner, what hotel are y'all staying in?
Oh, we're up in the what was it
Are
called?
you still at the Cutter's Kip?
Yep. We're in the
Okay,
Living
I'll
District.
send my boy Timothy by in the morning to bring you to the tower tomorrow. If you're involved in some business with Tiamat, there's some things you might want to hear. But like I say, this is not necessarily the best environment for such conversations.
Say no more.
Micah, your turn.
Good. So I'm sitting next to the governor, and I look over, and I remember that I do need to hold up my end of the bargain with Moloch. So I go up to her and I say, "No, I'm just trying to make sure."
You don't have to go up to her. You're sitting next to her.
Yeah.
You lean over.
I stand up on the table.
Listen here.
And I say, I ask her, "Did you look over those papers that I gave you yet, or?"
Well, since you're bringing it up, we might as well, I guess, move on to the next part of the meal before the main course arrives. She taps her glass and everyone pays attention. While our two intrepid heroes were recovering this afternoon, I spoke with their lawyer and went over the evidence that they had brought. And I have decided that I will be approving this meeting that their client, Moloch, wishes to have with me. Roll 1d4. One of you roll a die 4.
Right.
I guess Mike does since he brought it up.
Nice. 4.
Alright, Moloch will be there in 5 days. She has a servant come over and she whispers something to them. They go off. And a few minutes later, there's like some trumpet fare. And several servants carrying big trays come in, 3 big trays. Y'all are being rewarded for defeating the vampire, so you're going to have to roll 3 random treasure hoards, 1 for each of you, including Musharraf, because he also gets rewards. So each of you get a treasure hoard to randomly roll here. And so as they come out and reveal what's on the trays, it's gold and treasures. So let's see what you get. Who wants? Reed, you got the highest initiative, so we'll roll for Reed first.
Alright, and
Use my dice.
1 die 20?
No. To start, we're going to roll for some coins. So you need get a total of 6 dice 6 together for starters.
Alright.
We're right here.
Does anyone need scratch paper?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have some. Actually, yeah, I have some right here.
Alright, cool.
Okay. Alright, so on here there's 6 dice 6 times 100 copper pieces.
So 4, 8. Shit, I accidentally moved that one. That was 1. So that's 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 times 100. So 1,500 copper.
Okay, now roll 3 dice 6 times 100 silver.
So it's 16.
So 160 or 16
times 100.
1,600.
1,600
Silver.
silver.
And 2 dice 6 times 10 gold.
Let's move that one. So 7.
Okay, so 70.
Yeah.
Alright, and roll a D100, a percentage dice.
Alright, let me grab some. That's cool.
Green high.
Yeah. Mesh color high. So 66, or 96.
96, alright. 2 dice 6, roll 2 dice 6.
6.
You have 6 50 gold piece gems. 6 gems worth 50 gold each. And you get to roll 1 die 4 times. Roll 1 die 4.
4.
Alright, you get to roll 4 times on Magic Table F. Roll a die 100.
So 42.
A Javelin of Lightning.
What?
Yes. How many more times?
3 more.
67. Oh, I'm sorry, 76. Using green high.
Eyes of Charming. We can look these up in a minute. 3rd item.
8.
08.
Mm-hmm.
A +1 weapon.
Okay.
We already have that, but okay.
I mean,
This is an actually honest magic weapon, not a.
Yeah.
Hell.
Let's
steel.
say a really nice magic dagger. Okay, so you got a +1 dagger. And one more time. That's 3 items, right?
Yes, 3 items.
Okay, one more time.
81.
Gloves of Swimming and Climbing.
Oh.
Gloves of climbing, I hope.
Gloves of swimming and climbing.
All right.
Sweet.
Okay, so then next we'll go on to Hartmann. What's his treasure hoard? First, you're gonna roll some coins, Hartmann. Hartmann.
Sounds good.
6 dice 6 times 100 copper.
Do you want to write those down for me?
Yeah, I got you.
6-6. Let's see. 10, 22, 24.
So
Times
2,400 copper. Okay, 3 dice 6 times 100 silver.
8.
So 800 silver. And 2 dice 6 times 10 gold.
11.
Alright, so 110 gold.
Nice.
Alright, roll a d100.
Green high. 42.
Okay, 2 dice 6. Roll 2 dice 6.
6.
You have 6 10 GP 6 gems worth 10 gold each. And then you get to roll 1 dice 6. Roll 1 dice 6.
Let's pick a good one. I like the chaos. 3.
Alright, you get to roll 3 times on magic table A. Roll for your first one, D100.
Green high. 23.
A potion of healing.
Ooh. Got that down?
Yeah.
58.
A spell scroll of a cantrip.
96.
Potion of greater healing.
I'm not gonna complain.
That's it. You just the 3 items.
Nice.
Okay, so now I guess who's gonna roll for Musharraf's his rewards?
I'll roll for him, unless you want to. All right. So what?
And of course, all this can be pulled together and
Yeah.
mix and matched as you want.
Yeah, we got them on separate pages too, so it's all organized.
All right, so
Ready when you are.
roll 6 dice 6 times 100 copper.
6 dice 6.
This is for Musharraf.
8. 16. 21.
Okay, so 21, 2,100 copper.
Yep.
3 dice 6 times 100 silver.
11.
110 silver. Or no, 1,100 silver.
All good.
2 dice 6 times 10 gold.
9.
90. Alright, roll D100.
Green high. 12.
No magic items, but he does get 2 dice 6, 10 gold gems. 2 dice 6.
Ah, poor Musharraf. 6.
Alright, so 6 gems worth 10 gold each. Alright. Like I said, yeah, the whole thing is just like one big massive hoard.
Yeah. We just pick and choose like, ooh, that looks cool. But hey, dude, you finally get a spell cantrip scroll.
Alright.
What does that mean?
So like one of my cantrips and stuff, you'd be able to use one from the scroll.
But just one?
I don't know.
So there's a bunch of applause and oohing and ahhing from the audience as they come out and show you your treasure
And we're
hoards.
just like, yes, it's beautiful.
Lovely. There's just like a tray, and there's like gems and gold and weapons.
A servant will come up to consult with y'all with how you want the treasure delivered. Do you want to just take it when you leave the palace? They can put it all in a big chest for you, or do you want to have them sent to your hotel or something?
Let's see, if we got it in a chest, it would take like me and Musharraf to carry it.
Yeah, you're back up into the position where like shit, you're gonna need some sort of fucking animal to carry shit around.
Ah, you know what? I got.
You can buy both griffins and giant goats in this city.
What
We could get some griffins.
do you?
They'll cost a pretty penny. I don't think you
We-
can afford them
Yeah.
without sacrificing a bunch of magic items, maybe.
I'm down for that. I mean, we really don't need these magic items.
Also, like,
I want some of them. I mean, there's like a javelin of lightning. Yes, please. Eyes of charming. Yes. +1 dagger.
yeah,
pretty
since
good.
I'd have to dig out the magic cards for them here in a little bit, but if you
Yeah.
want to look at any of what your items do,
Yes.
Let's see what the Javelin of Lightning is.
You only get to throw it once.
It could be.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
You got a Potion of Greater Healing and Eyes of Charming. Let's see. What am I looking for? JJ.
I was just like thinking of the Eyes of Charming, like eyes you slowly put on yours.
This javelin is a magic weapon. When you hurl it and speak its command word, it transforms into a bolt of lightning, forming a line 5 feet wide, blah blah blah. Each creature in the line must make a DC 13 saving throw, take 4d6 lightning damage.
That's amazing.
The lightning bolt turns back into a javelin when it reaches the target. Make a ranged weapon attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes damage from the javelin plus 4d6 lightning damage.
But I can like still pull it out of their body and use it again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's not a one-shot item.
Sweet.
And like I said, you get a spell scroll for some sort of cantrip, which to determine.
Dude, you are like a titan. You're like this fish dude with this trident and a
He doesn't have a trident
Oh,
yet.
doesn't?
No, I have just the Hell Staff.
There's
Hell
lightning
Staff, now like electrical trident. Oh my Percy.
All right. Well, let's see. So.
We obviously humbly thank them for this great hoard that they just bestowed upon us.
This is our appreciation for all the work you've done in saving our city from this vampire plague.
Yeah, we kind of nearly died, so.
Well, this is why you're being rewarded for
Awesome.
your efforts.
We're alive.
Do you want to pool up the money and then?
Yeah, can we like also just make all the money into gold just so it's easier?
Yeah, you could trade it all up.
Okay.
And it's
So it's 100 coppers become 1 gold, 10 silvers become 1 gold.
All right.
okay.
You want to do the math?
So basically, just divide your copper total by 100
Right. Here, let me see mine real quick.
and divide.
So copper would be
1,500.
Okay, well I guess you can hold the potion of healing card. It's just the 1 card, but you got a regular healing potion and a greater healing potion. So just make sure you have that written down.
70.
Where's my pencil? Your pencil.
Oh yeah, I stole yours.
Well, you have a blue shirt and I got a green shirt, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I barely use it anyways.
That's all right. Treasure.
245
Pleasure.
gold plus the. How much gold do I have?
Gloves of swimming and climbing.
Right now it's gems.
Honestly, healing potions, man. You stock up on those, you'll never be in trouble.
True. Plus you got some pretty good ones.
A greater healing potion is 4d4 plus 4. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much your. That's hit points.
Yep.
Also, because she's announced that she will meet with Moloch, and how that goes is kind of outside of y'all's control. So, split 5,000 experience between the 3 of y'all.
So 5,000 divided by 3 is a weird number, but we could just take 2,000, 2,000, 1,000 for.
Moloch.
No, it needs to be
Michelle.
evenly divided.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's
You
fair.
would not have beaten the vampire to earn this experience to get this automatic win over the governor if he hadn't showed up to help your asses.
Right.
That luck, though.
Let's see. I'll let you do that.
Divided by 3. What about Merc? Does Merc get any?
No, that man ran.
He ran?
He wasn't part of your party anyway.
Oh,
He was
what a lame-o.
wasn't
It's 1,000.
Let's see, 388 plus
Eyes of Charming.
6. Okay, I got it down.
By the way, you get 1,666.
Wait, so I get 6 gems with 50 gold each?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that means that that's 300.
Anyways, like just converting the gems to gold, it's better to keep the gems as gems they spend, and they're much lighter weight.
Oh yeah, no, I was just tallying up my total amount of gem gold worth.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just have like gems and just a total of what the gem's worth is.
Because that way it's just easier to mentally price.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. Like, I got 5 50 ones, and I got 6 60 ones, and I got 2 10 ones. It's like, just have a total pool of
What you have.
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
And I can write down the special things in a second. Let's see.
Let's see. I'm close.
Sure, so that's 21.
Trying to get
that's
through.
110. That's 90.
Sword wounded.
For experience, should I round down or round up?
Down.
Okay.
There we go.
Just gonna take a peek.
Go for it.
Potion of greater healing. And a spell cantrips scroll.
Alright, so like I said, you got your +1 fancy dagger, and then these are the other magic items you had, unless there's something I forgot.
Let's see. Javelin, Eyes of Charming. Cool, I get some spectacles now.
Now, see which ones, if you need to attune to any of them, because you do
Yeah.
still have the limitations on how much you can have attuned to you.
Gloves, climbings when we don't cost you extra movement and gain a +5 bonus strength, athletics. Requires attunement, and that does not. So I might need to unattune to something.
Or just not use one of those and just says like, fuck it, I can sell this and make some more bank.
So the spell scroll isn't attuned to any particular spell until it's
And-
been...
No, I have to determine what spell it is. I gotta take a spell.
The Eyes of Charming
Hope it's
can
fireball.
only be used 3 times
Well, it's
until
going to
you
be
get
a
somewhere with a dawn.
cantrip, and it can only be used once, so it's a minor spell.
That's still useful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like something you didn't have.
Yeah.
Ooh, for instance, like,
You get to use it the one time.
It's like the key.
yeah.
It worked that one time. That's all
Yeah.
you need.
Right. Oh,
This is how much experience you received.
It's a bard cantrip
Ooh.
scroll for minor illusion. You can cast minor illusion once.
That's actually pretty...
6.
Pick something that's not already, it can be done by your druid anyway.
It's still good enough. If I'm in my own little thing and I just need it, got it.
Alright, so after the presenting of the treasure, and what did you decide you were going to have the servants do with it? Are you going to pick it up on the way out, or are you
We're
going
gonna ask him to deliver it to our place.
Okay, they'll deliver it to your.
That way, now we
And-
don't gotta worry about it.
All right, so you're going to get one more round of small talk as food is brought out. And did you divide your XP?
Yeah.
Doing so now. I just need to add it in. It's all good.
1666.
Yeah.
Mark of the demon! Or the beast. Mark of the beast. Let me see. What else could I ask?
Almost up to leveling.
This is a small talk, so.
That's sweet. I'm only like 1,000, a little bit less to leveling.
Would you like some hand sanitizer anymore?
What, you gross?
Yeah.
Goody.
You gotta reach what, 6,500 to level up?
Yeah, I'm at 5,732.
Oh man, you're above me.
And Musharraf's at 2,499.
Nice. A road that is quite dangerous.
Alright, so Reed, when you're ready, do you want anything else to ask, or are you just gonna dig into your food and pass it on to Micah for a last chance to ask a question before the dinner's over?
Let me see. I want to ask him real quick.
Ask who?
Or
Sabass?
let me see who else. I've been talking to Sabass all night. Yeah, I'll just keep talking to him. I like him. I asked him if one of these old books will like be worth anything to him when I show him the one that I just finished reading the day before.
Yeah, the Tome of Leadership or whatever.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. Oh. Of course, you know, there's tons of book collectors and magic item collectors that would love to get their hand on this, even though it's been used. Its magical effects will regain potency
Yeah, just a little
in
bit.
time.
Yeah, Tome of Leadership and Influence.
If you ever manage to get back to Faerun and come to Fae, I certainly know quite a few people who would take that off your hands.
Oh.
In fact, if it weren't for your little mission to have to go to Olympus, getting back to Faerun wouldn't necessarily be all that hard on you. Since I do have a way back myself. But you'd have to take care of your little trip to Mount Olympus for your goddess first. That's the sort of thing you do not want to offend her on. I don't know how she told you to get back to Faerun from there, but...
It's just a hop, skip, and a portal or two away. We just have to, let's see, I have it all written down. Not really.
Like, this guy's not an omnipotent. You have to be specific about what you tell him about it in order for certain things to be, like, able to get information. And you don't get a lot of opportunities to interact with a guy that's powerful.
Yep. We need to get to Arborea, then to Mount Olympus, and at the flank of Hera's Shrine, go to Avendor,
Yeah.
and
And
then from there, so
seek
to,
the coast of Asura.
and
That's where her deceit was. Taking her relic to the shrine should be fine, but going into Arvendor and trying to get back to Faerun via Evermeet. Let's just say the elves there do not take kindly to planar visitors just showing up on their shores. That would have been a bit of an issue. I would recommend, if you're interested, after meeting tomorrow, go to Olympus, do what you have to do at the shrine, then turn your ass back around and come back here. I could get you back to Faerun without having to battle your way past a whole island full of xenophobic elves.
oh god,
Why would she want us to do that? Do you think it's so that we
oh
would perish?
she is a goddess of deception and necromancy. So yeah, even though we're trying to be devout followers of her,
There's some trickery involved in it,
Yeah.
yeah.
but
A
see,
test to see how wise you are if you just blunder straight in through it.
walking without thinking will get us caught.
You got back to Faerun to only be immediately killed by a horde of pissed off elves. But hey, you got back to Faerun.
Let's see, let's just scratch that part off. I whispered to myself, damn you, Hecate, you almost got us.
Alright, so, Hartmann, one last chance to talk to any of your people, or are you just gonna stuff your mouth? Full of food.
Anything I should ask him, I think.
You can't really consult with each other because you're separated, so...
I see.
I give Micah that little look.
I don't pick up on that, okay? Yeah, I just stuff my face like an idiot.
Alright.
Unless, could I roll wisdom for something? Okay.
Nothing really to. Okay, so y'all enjoy your meal. Everyone seems to have a good time. At the end of the dinner, the governess stands up and is giving her little speech. Once again, thanking our fearless vampire killers for their services, and wishing Musharraf good luck on his intention to retire from direct service. Although his rank here in Ribcage will always be honored. He's, you know, years of being one of their top officers, so he's earned his chance to walk away peacefully. And then at the very end of the dinner, she announces that Senator Ivlium is going to be arrested, along with all other conspirators revealed in the evidence that y'all brought her. And so the dinner ends with Musharraf and a couple other mercy killers getting up and grabbing the senator from Ivlium, who's squirming and
Right next to Mushar.
Oh man, he must have been shitting his
almost as
pants.
if he was placed there on purpose for
He
some
just
reason.
stood up and was like,
He just puts his hand on his
Hey.
shoulder with handcuffs. You're coming with us, son.
Oh man.
So they haul off the protesting Ivlium senator, and that is the end of your state dinner here
It's kind of
at the palace.
a rough ending,
I
I
mean,
gotta say.
it's better that they got caught than kept doing what they were doing. Because this way they weren't honoring, like, true trade. They were, like, bringing shit in illegally. Yeah, it's lawful. If they're not gonna fucking go with it, we'll have to call them out.
Alright, so we're going to take a quick little break and we'll pick back up in the morning. Alright, so it's about 8 o'clock at night by the time this is all said and done. And you're leaving the palace. Serena's walking y'all outside and wishing y'all a good night. And y'all are just going to head back to the inn.
Yes.
I want to celebrate a little bit, so like is it still able to like buy shit, or do we have to wait?
The bazaars are probably going to be closed down by the time you could get to any of them.
If I go by an inn or by like a bar or anything real quick, can I just like pick up a bottle of rocket?
Oh well, the Cutter's Kip does have full service at that one. It was the Squalid Inn that y'all tried to stay in the first night that didn't have anything. The Cutter's Kip has a bar.
Alright, so yeah, I just want to go there, just like cheers to Musharraf and to Hartmann, to myself, for all of us doing a great job.
The innkeeper, when you get to the Cutter's Kip, he's a fat little tiefling. He's quite happy because, like, you know, having the sudden brand new rock stars of Ribcage staying in his hotel is good for business. There's a bunch of people there at the bar who all cheer when you come in and stuff. The story of the Triton and his Gessera companion who helped Musharraf defeat the Red Mist has been spreading swiftly throughout the town all day. You can also overhear that apparently, like, since the Cutter's Kip is in the Ivlium district, apparently there's been a lot of activity from the Mercy Killers going around arresting various people from the conspiracy that you unlocked by submitting your paperwork. So, let's see. You can have your celebratory drinks.
Yeah.
Some people probably want to come up and ask for autographs or something.
That's cool.
The innkeeper is going to comp your rooms for the remainder of your stay in town.
Which should be 5 days after tonight?
That's nice.
Or 4 days. No, 6 days.
You still have 4 days after this day is over left on your chunks. You don't have to stay that entire time.
Obviously.
And it'll be another 4 daes before Moloch gets here. Assuming you even want to hang around, you're under no obligation to meet Moloch.
But I would like to see him in his true form.
So,
I'd like to see him, shake his hand, be like, thank you. You got us all this way.
so unless there's anything specific you want to talk with Musharraf about, I mean, get to the next morning and you wake up, come out of your rooms, and finally, you've found Tim. Or in this case, Timothy has found y'all. The little wizard's apprentice is waiting in the lobby for y'all to wake up, and he will take you to go meet with Sabass at the Red Tower of Thay.
Sweet. Hello, Timothy. Let us continue.
Hello guys, so y'all ready to take off? You want to do anything before we head on over to talk to the boss?
Let's just make sure we got all of our gold and everything. Make sure we got everything
You're gonna
packed
carry
up.
all your stuff with you? You can leave it at the hotel. Like they're secure. Your rooms are locked. No one. This is not a heavy crime-ridden city of any sort. So.
Yeah. Let's just leave all the golden, well, majority of the golden stuff that we don't just have pocketed.
Okay.
And yeah, let's just mosey on down.
Alright, well, once again, there's the Red Tower of Thay, which looks to be made out of this smoothed red brick, just appearing seemingly out of the middle of a street, and all the people who are going down the road are having to, like,
Walk around.
go around it and all that kind of stuff, yeah. And then there's that little door made out of chalk, and written in the middle of it, it says, "Key here." The apprentice wizard casts a firebolt cantrip into the door, and the door opens. Turns into a door that's just hanging open. He's like, "After you guys."
Could have guessed it.
You bringing Musharraf with you too, or is he going to stay back behind at the inn, by the way?
Let's ask him. Does he wish to accompany us?
It's up to y'all. He's going to hang with y'all
Yes.
until you give him a reason to not want to hang with y'all, so.
Alright.
I want him to come with us.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. He's pretty tough.
Yeah, no, we just respect the man and want him to actually feel like he's part of the group.
Yeah.
as you enter the first level of the tower, it's fairly simple. There's a big round rug in it. There's not much on the walls. There's a couple of undead ogre zombies standing guard by a door that leads up to a stairwell.
I want to use like a wisdom check to make sure everything's like not about to go down. Yeah, perception check.
Sure,
I'll
go
roll
for
with
it.
Oh, I gotcha.
Bop, bop.
6.
19.
Okay, you feel like this is being your first time inside of a wizard's tower. You assume everything's cool. You're like nervous. You don't know what to expect, but you don't know if that's just you being paranoid, because you've also never been in a proper wizard's tower, especially guarded by undead
Fix my
ogres.
glasses.
Anyway, though, the wizard apprentice kid,
Timmy.
he speaks a command word at the ogres, and they step apart so you can go up to the stairs. And he tells y'all just head up to the top level.
All right.
Sabass is up there in his sanctum.
Let's go.
It's the only door that I'll unlock for y'all.
Alright, well, start heading up, walking with my staff and everything.
Alright.
My
You
shield
pass a
is,
couple levels. There's like it's a stairwell that winds the outer wall
Yes,
of
big,
the
long.
tower, and here and there's like a point where it flattens out, and there's a door, but the doors are locked. At the very top, though, there's a silver door, which will open and reveals a sunlit beach, like in some tropical area. You can hear the waves and the smell of sea salt and whatnot. And on a beach chair lounging, you see the old man. He's out of his robe. He's got like this red striped, old-fashioned bathing suit, like the ones they used to wear in the 30s with the tank top and the shorts. And he's just sitting there. He's got one of those sun shield things. And he's like, "Oh, you showed up. Good." He puts up his stuff, gets up, and has a robe draped over the end of his beach chair, and he puts it on and tries to make himself look serious.
Well, I didn't mean to disturb you. We just came as soon as we saw Timmy.
Oh, I was just meditating. Don't worry about it. So, I see you've made it.
Yeah, we're here. Where are we right now?
Oh, this is just the top level of my tower. I use some phantasmal illusions to create a sensation of being somewhere more pleasant. It can be tiring spending day after day in Ribcage when it's always dark out.
Yeah.
It does feel nice to have the sun out. I will say that.
Albeit I could just go downstairs and I'm back in Byzanter, but Byzanter is not nearly as nice as this little bit of scenery here, so...
This is a truly piece of paradise.
You wanted
but-
to ask him something?
Yes. Brain dead. Sorry, the beach just got me all weird. I can't get that image out of my head.
Now you're standing on a beach at the top of this wizard's tower.
No, not just that. It's like just the way he was looking for things.
Like seagulls and like water.
There's just natural sounds. There's no sounds of animals. There's the illusion doesn't create any wildlife. There's just, you see like a jungle in the distance, and it's all beach, and then the nice clear azure ocean waters lapping up on the shore and stuff. But the actual space is no bigger than the room it is. It's just an illusion of it.
The sand feel kind of like our.
You hear the sound of sand crunching under your boots, but it's not real. It's just an illusion.
That's actually pretty good. Pretty dope.
It's like being in a holodeck in Star Trek. So.
But yeah, I noticed, like, sorry to cut all this.
You had mentioned something about a dragon that you were working for because the dragon was afraid of the resurrection of Tiamat?
Yes, this dragon was once held by your cult, or at least people of your cult, the Red Wizards of Thay, back on Faerun.
Oh, the Red Wizards of Thay is a big faction with a lot of subsects and political parties. So, if the ones that have been raising dragons, I'm assuming that he or she was being raised to become a Draco Lich.
Yes, Cryovane was.
Then she would have come from Eltabar. That's our capital. That's where they do those sorts of things.
Yeah, but we were trying to help her just get to the ice planar. Can't remember the name.
Frostfell?
Frostfell, thank you.
Huh. Interesting. Why?
Although she could have easily gone by herself, but she wanted to move an entire castle there. Due to it was made of magic ice, or magic ice stone.
Well, I can put some notes down and have one of my assistants go look through the records and see if I can dig up anything at Cryovane specifically. She sounds like an interesting dragon, though. But what does that have to do with Tiamat? Is this dragon at all involved in any of the events going on the West Coast over the Horde of the Dragon Queen?
Quite possibly. We honestly don't know too much. She promised me a reward if I helped her. But past that, like, she didn't tell me anything of the quantity or where it's stored or anything of the such. How we've had to piece together most of the knowledge that we know about her through people we've talked to over the past month back on Faerun.
Well, I'll tell you now, Druid, there's not going to be a lot of opportunities in your life to be able to consult with someone as learned as I on certain subjects. So, this is your one chance. Let me know what it is that you know, and what it is that you would like to know, and I can see if I can help you on your way. As I mentioned last night at the dinner, it might be to our mutual advantage, perhaps, if you are involved in these events, for you to return here after you've made your trip to Mount Olympus. Not only can I get you back to Faerun, but I know a few things, obviously, from my end of those events, and some things I've learned about Tiamat and my time up here researching it that you might find revelatory.
I'm sure I will. Oh, we were working with the Knights of Io. By any chance do you know of them?
Yes, I'm quite aware of the Knights of Io. They originated in a land that neighbors Thay, called Unther. When the Spell Plague erupted 100 years ago, the native inhabitants of Unther had been dragged off into some extraplanar realm, and they were replaced with a bunch of these creatures called Dragonborn that have since made some efforts to spread around Faerun, but they are not at all native to this world. In the west, in your lands, the Dragonborn there had largely allied themselves to the Church of Tiamat, and in the west there was the Knights of Bahamut that had good sway in the lands of Unther. But after the disaster at the Well of Dragons, when the Horde of Tiamat was supposedly lost, and much of the leadership of the Church of Tiamat, who call themselves the Cult of the Dragon, but the true Cult of the Dragon exists in Thay. In fact, that's why we were involved. We had this scheme going on to try to undermine the Church of Tiamat's plans, and also potentially try to regain control of the cult proper. And well, it worked. Not quite the way we wanted it to, but it worked. And unfortunately, though, now the Knights of Io have become an issue. You see, with the destruction of the Well of Dragons and the destruction of the Horde of Tiamat, or at least the bulk of it, and the deaths of all the leaders of the Church of Tiamat and our own agents that we had sent to be involved with them, did prove to be sufficient, apparently, to unlock the way for Tiamat to escape Avernus. And Tiamat is no longer in Avernus. She wasn't able to leave as a dragon, though. From what I've able to glean, in order for her to be able to get out, she has somehow managed to wish herself into a mortal body.
Speaking of wishing to a mortal body, whenever we died and were resurrected in the pool of Hecate, that we had a glimpse or a vision of Hartmann's true original body being manipulated by someone. We don't even know who, don't know what, but
They were mocking me in the vision. I could hear it in their head.
Interesting. Have you had any contact with dark entities? Any contact with the dead, ghosts, spirits of any sort? Something that would cause one to have had a lingering presence upon you so that when your soul exited your body, they could have come in to take over, perhaps?
Anyone when I was in my human form?
Anything you can remember, perhaps, from any adventuring you had done beforehand, where you'd come in contact with some sort of dark entity that...
Yes.
There was, what was her name? Damn, I keep forgetting that. The
woman in the cave?
Githyanki.
Oh, Zareth?
Zareth.
No.
No, but the woman in the cave near the tower of,
Resurrection?
No, shut up. What's it called? It was on the bank, the lighthouse. What was it called?
Oh, the storm tower?
Yes, the Tower of
The
Storms.
lighthouse?
There was
It had
a...
nothing to do with that.
No? Oh.
You have to go way back in your minds. Or you just don't remember and don't know what he's talking about and can't figure it out.
Can I make a wisdom roll?
No. You can make an intelligence save.
Alright.
Here. What's your intelligence?
Oh, my intelligence. It's actually pretty good. 10. Not bad.
Here,
You
let
need
me-
to make a savings throw.
Here,
Do it.
let me do it. I
What's
got
the
an
save?
intelligence of 14.
No, he's got to do it. He called it.
Alright, no,
It happened
you
to
go.
him.
Not true. There.
Come on, baby.
Oh, wait. Dwarf.
Dwarf?
Your dreams of the
I
dwarven
dreamed
cave?
of the dwarf. In the ruins.
Yes.
A dwarven cave in the ruins? What is this?
What was the name of the ruins?
In the Sword Mountains at the very end, there was a dwarven temple that we had to destroy oozes in. But he had a nightmare
I
of
did have a
before
nightmare.
before we went there of the dwarven priest mocking and laughing, throwing tentacles out and lashing out.
Interesting. This ooze, did it touch you?
It did touch me.
Huh.
Several times.
It might have been the point of contact. Temple.
Very
dwarven,
inappropriately.
very dwarven temple. Describe the...
along
to say
the-
that your characters are describing
Alright,
the temple.
along
in
the
detail.
mountainside, goes down a corridor.
What it
there's
looks
a
like on the
bridge.
inside, all that kind of stuff. That sounds like it could be a temple of Avathor. It's a dwarven god of greed and avarice. Interesting. Most interesting.
What was it called again?
The temple of Abathor. Abathor.
Abathor.
A-B-B-A, yeah. Abathor.
Dwarven
God of greed.
god of greed. And those dreams lasted actually much
Periodically.
very periodically. I haven't
That
had
was
any
probably it. Probably some of its essence must have stuck with you.
We accidentally collected some of the ooze and took it with us, and actually ended up killing one of our people that we were supposed to meet the next day.
I'd have to know more specifics about what happened there at that temple to actually explain how a dwarven priest of a greed god turned into an ooze, but that could very well be your vector as to why your body is no longer your own, and who may be currently wearing it, I guess.
Gross.
Alright.
Oh, now we might have a possible chance to get your body back. Although you are still in this body, but is there a way to transfer consciousness from one living to the next?
Such things aren't entirely unknown, but these are like high order type spells. Or the abilities of powers or their proxies to do such things.
I understand that maybe you would want to return, but looking at my past, there's nothing left of my human form.
Well, being reborn as Gesserai does you no favors. The Gesserai have been in really bad shape. They've been being systemically hunted by the Githyanki cousins, and you are very much just as much subject to that, so...
I can hold my own.
But could you do it against the executioner?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We
It's the
can
whole
get
point
your
of
body
leveling
back.
up.
We will get your body back.
Alright,
So
so
then we can find your sister.
That's a good goal.
you have at your disposal the Archmage of 2 cities and 2 realms. He's just told you that Tiamat turned herself mortal and escaped from hell. had something to do, he had brought it up as something to do with him talking about the Knights of Io, but then conversation got shifted over to Hartman's body loss because of the whole like Tiamat being turned mortal thing. So
I was just curious about that. But with the Knights of Io and the resurrection, or at least the reincarnation of Tiamat, we would have to discover who she...
Oh, I know who she is. She goes by the title of the Sorceress. She's the chief advisor to the head of the Knights of Io. She is manipulating them, has been basically carving a little empire out of our world, all the way from Unther across the Sea of Fallen Stars. They've been waging war across Symbia, all the way up into the Grey Peak Mountains. And apparently, from what you're saying, they've reached Neverwinter? Well, Neverember is going to certainly enjoy having them around on his back doorstep.
Well, if nothing else, I know Lord Neverember could definitely take care of himself.
Thing is he knows where she is too. He will tell you that he believes that she is currently in the desert of Anarok, just north of the Desert's Mouth Mountains, where she is probably, because she has a copy of the Tome of the Dragon, she is looking for the phylactery of Samaster, the original founder of the Cult of the Dragon and the person who wrote the original Tome of the Dragon. Because if she can awaken his Lich and bring him back from the dead, he can translate parts of the Tome of the Dragon that she can then use to regain her godhood status. But right now, she is mortal.
So they still have a chance to kill her.
Basically, what Sabass has in mind, if you return to him, he can help you and vice versa to get to Tiamat and kill her while she is still mortal and killable before she is able to reawaken the Samaster.
And then we'd have...
And that would put you much closer to where you need to go. He can provide transport across the Sea of Fallen Stars and across Symbia, because he can skip all that because he knows of a gate in Eltabar that will lead you directly to the Stormhorn Mountains. And then you can just travel a little bit north and get up into the desert and try to find where the Sorceress
Sit
is.
above the Desert Mouth Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So she'd be between Spider's Huntswood and some main
In the
area.
desert there, there's that little nook in between mountains and shit.
Yeah, I see little crevices and all that.
Yeah, somewhere up in there. And from there, you go. If you then go back up to the Grey Peak Mountains, they have that gate there that leads over to the marshes, right by where you're originally from.
The Marsh of Chelm, the Southwood, and then all the way back up to...
And you can teleport. Yeah, and you can teleport right back up to the Mirror of Dead Men and be right under Neverwinter, and not have to cross all of that necessarily. But right now, the Empire of Io is much more active and at war in the Eastern Realms, and is apparently just barely started to get into the West. If Tiamat can be slain, in all likelihood, the entire structure of her unified cults of Bahamut and Tiamat will fall apart within a matter of weeks, in all likelihood, without her influence over Gorbash and the other leaders.
And possibly just change to, hopefully, just the Knights of Bahamut again.
Again, yeah.
Well, if Tiamat is fully defeated.
And that should also ease up whatever worries you have about war in the West. Now, if there, he tells you that if there is any surviving remnant of the Horde of the Dragon Queen there, if word gets out about that, then many of the cities from Alm, Baldur's Gate, El Terrell, Waterdeep are all going to end up wanting to send fleets up to Neverwinter and start fighting over the Horde.
But now we know that, if nothing else, we could leave it to you that you would be able to hide it. Or possibly disperse it, or use it in any way possible.
I'm not sure what we should or can do with the Horde itself, but, because, you know, the dragon's possession of it is already in question, but if we can remove the Knights of Io from the equation, it should make tensions that much less hostile there, potentially, where the nations of the western coast could potentially come to some sort of accordance more peacefully. With the Knights of Io there in the mix, it will almost certainly guarantee war will descend upon your homeland.
I pull out my sending stone to the Knights of Io, and I let them know, I'm like, I do have this connecting me to the Knights of Io, and I'm able to communicate with them once a day. Would this be helpful for you? Or helpful with our goal?
It could be. I'd have to think a bit about it first, exactly how to use
We're
that.
allied to them.
The Knights of Io?
And you need to get your asses to Olympus to do your little mission to the shrine before we can do any of this. You do not want to have some unfinished business from a goddess
Yes.
hanging over you, especially a goddess of necromancy and deceit.
And so how is the fastest way to Mount Olympus?
Well, there's lots of ways, obviously, to get to Arborea. If you were to take the wheel following the gate towns around, you will have trouble getting there. Not only is the gate town of Sylvania currently in a state of war between the Societists and Station and the Doom Guard over control of the gates into Arborea, because both those two factions are struggling with each other for access to Arborea, because they both have a presence there. Also, even on the way to getting to Sylvania, the entire region around Zeos, you want to avoid that, because that's become the Githyanki staging ground into the Outlands.
What's the
after
name of it?
A town called Zeos.
Zeos.
It's the gate town to Limbo. Limbo used to be the stronghold for the Githzerai, but the Githyanki destroyed their fortifications and drove them out, and now the Githzerai are scattered and largely based out of the Abyss or in the Sigil. But for the most part, they're kind of an underground group. Most of them are now working with something called the Revolutionary League, because it allows them to disguise themselves as members of other factions. The factions are very supportive of the Githzerai, though. So, because they've been long time considered one of the great major races of the Outer Plains for centuries upon centuries. And no one is terribly pleased with the Githyanki. But the Githyanki refuse to use the normal system of gate and portal travel. They rely on their astral ships to get around, which is both a boon and a benefit.
If we
to
were
those
able
being
to
hunted by
acquire
them.
one of those ships, do you think we'd possibly be able to travel a little bit faster? I know that we wouldn't be able to possibly travel through,
How much has anyone told you about how what do you know about how the Outlands work? The closer you get to the center of the Outlands and the Spire,
The less
magic will
magic.
start to shut down. That also affects the Githyanki ships. So they're only able to stick to the outermost rings of the Outlands.
but
So-
that means we'd still be able to skip over a lot of these cities that we'd have to...
Also, controlling a proper spelljammer ship. I mean, like, the Githyanki are the only people who even know how to fly these things. Ever since the Phlogiston was burned up 1,000 years ago.
So only Githyanki know how to fly?
For now, yes. They're only the ones who know how to manufacture and operate a spelljamming helm.
We did notice that Hartman's body was able to manipulate one with ease. And we know for sure he was not
If he's
capable.
possessed by a priest of Avathor, that order has not been around in a long time. They would have still potentially had skills and remembered the days of realm space when Faerun had contact with other worlds in the Prime. The Prime material universe, suddenly the illusion changes from beach, and like it's that scene in Final Fantasy VII where you're on the inside of a astrolab, and
Yeah.
it's showing you the cosmos.
Like in Star Wars, just little stars everywhere.
Yeah, the Prime material used to be all the worlds and their sun were contained in these big crystal shells, and those shells floated in the Phlogiston, which was this roiling ocean of rainbow-colored energy. It used to be the way that societies and races would get around across the Prime material plane from world to world. That's why so many of the different Prime material worlds have such similar racial mixes, because most of them are colonists. Humans are originally from a world called Earth. Faerun is the original homeworld of the elves, so on and so forth. But over the ages, everyone is spread around. Anyway, a little under 1,000 years ago, right before the Great Modron March began, something caused the Phlogiston that flowed between the star systems to catch fire and be destroyed. And this brought a pretty much immediate and sudden end to spelljamming use and interstellar society on the Prime world, and left all the various worlds in isolation. And apparently only the Githyanki managed to escape with a fleet by taking it into astral space. The Githzerai,
Weren't so lucky.
no. But should they ever be able to find such a fleet and figure out how to operate it again, it would give them some sort of advantage and edge.
There was
Eliza, there's some sort of prophecy I remember hearing once.
What do you mean? Prophecy of what?
Something about the Githzerai. They were looking for a Gith not born from egg or something. Something to do with finding their lost fleet.
What?
We do have a Gith not born from egg.
You're looking at him.
Well, I guess you have a good point there. Have the Githzerai tried to get hold of you in any way?
They have. They sent a monk with me to tail me. I'm not sure if he's still tailing me, but
And they said that they'd be leaving when? In 3 days?
a few
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Actually, later today now.
days, later today.
And
Well, I
that,
guess we need to return to them to fulfill my promise.
I'd be extremely cautious about that.
Why?
The Githzerai are desperate, and whereas their prophecy might have some kernel of truth in it, prophecies, especially old prophecies, are always distorted and contain all sorts of details that are omitted from the text, shall we say. I would be very cautious about whatever that is they would want you to do with them. They want to take you to Sigil?
They do. They want to take me there.
Did they say where in Sigil they wanted to take you?
Not particularly. They just wanted me to meet with one of their head giths.
are they going to try to use him as a sacrifice?
I don't know.
That is possible. Like I said, I do like the Githyanki are not the sort of things that the Githyanki and the Githzerai are not something I indulge studying in too much. I've had dealings in the past with the Illithids, and I want to be able to continue to have those dealings with the Illithids, and so being friendly with the Gith doesn't necessarily help that cause, so I tend to just kind of leave them to their own devices. I don't get in their way.
Oh, he wanted us to visit the face of Gith in Sigil.
Face of Gith, that's basically their unofficial headquarters now. I would be extremely cautious about going along with them if they're wanting to take you to meet their leadership in Sigil, and without having told you anything about what they intend with you at this point.
They said that they would find me if I didn't return to them.
I'm sure they'd try, but the outer planes are big and there's a lot of way through. Okay, well, knowing this, I guess I got 2 different routes I could recommend for you to get to Mount Olympus. The fastest, quickest way would be just go straight into Sigil and look for the Temple of Hermes in the Ladies' Ward.
Temple of Hermes in the Ladies' Ward.
Yeah. As apparently the priests there have a direct gate to the Temple of Hermes on Olympus, and so if you can convince them to let you through, you'll take you straight to where you want to be, and then you just have to find your Shrine of Hair, which should be very far.
Temple of Hermes?
Yes.
Temple of Hermes. However, as I just said, Sigil is a Githzerai stronghold, and the opportunities for them to ambush, capture, and Shanghai y'all into whatever plans that they have for you for this Githzerai born not from an egg will be quite heavy there, and so you'll be running quite a risk of having to run a gauntlet of not being caught. A safer route that will take a little bit longer would be to go to Thebestus.
Thebestus.
There on the River Mott is the beginning of what we call the Great River. It's one of the great paths through the Outlands. The River Mott flows for a ways through the Outlands, but where it ends up in the neutral good region of the plain, it actually becomes the River Oceanus. It'll flow through a couple of levels of Elysium and then across the top level of the Beastlands before depositing you into Arborea. Now, if in Thebestus you were to offer your services as guards on one of the boats of Egyptian petitioners who are sailing to Amenthis in Arborea, and just tell them that you wish to disembark at a town called Thrasos, you will be able to journey and maybe even make a little money on your way there. They'll make a few pilgrimage stops, but it would be an opportunity for you to potentially get to know some of the other gods from the same world as Hecate. Hers is not the only pantheon from that world. They all know of each other and have had interdealings, so it might be an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the gods you now find yourself serving.
True.
But it will take some time to go that route, taking the river.
I don't allege myself with the Gith. And if I am to return home safely, perhaps I shouldn't trust them.
We should possibly take the river then. That way,
To the best-
I
to
still
the-
have my magic throughout, and
Right.
that way I can still be helpful in the fight, and it makes it to where we can actually earn coin and possibly find out more about Hecate and the other gods.
Can I?
I will say, for efforts of, just in terms of the amount of time it will take, if the goal is to get back so that we can stop Tiamat before she reawakens Samaster and regains her godhood, then the sooner the better. But as I say, going through Sigil has a danger to it. A greater danger than you would face on the river, but the river could take weeks, if not months, traveling through the plains. So as you travel through the outer plains themselves, time will be distorted. Ever since the Phlogiston was destroyed, that's when the Feywild and the Shadowfell appeared, and
Does time speed up?
depends on the dimension you in.
Fair enough.
The planes of law tend to go slower. The planes of conflict tend to go faster. The planes of chaos are, well, chaotic.
We could just dupe them.
Want to just try to rush through Sigil? We already know the way. All we have to do is get to Hermes' temple, and from there we get there, and then we just have to go the straight path back, same way. I'd say we, because we do not want Tiamat to be reawakened.
That's even more of a risk, yes.
So I think for the greater good, we're just gonna have to go with it and just have to make that choice.
If Tiamat is awakened with the power structure she has, she's but basically
New
be
god.
guaranteed global domination under his harsh fucking inquisitorial fucking dragon cult.
But I just realized, to make sure that Hartmann cannot be found, I could give him the amulets of proof against detection and location.
That is not just an amulet, but that's your holy symbol too for the goddess. So
And you have another one, don't you?
he's
I
got the
have-
detect thoughts one. You
If
can
we-
trade your necklaces.
We could. And that way he is not being followed by the Gith, and that way...
It would be harder for them to locate him with magic at least, and
Yes.
psychic abilities. That
Which they are
replicate
known
magic.
for.
Yeah.
And then you could have detect thoughts.
And we'd have to reattune to them tonight, but that would be okay.
So we'd have to go with them?
No, we'd have to reattune because they're attunement items. So it'd take time to...
You have to spend an hour, getting to know your new magic item.
That's fine. But how are we going to get out of the city safely?
Through the gate to Sigil.
If you go to Sigil, you just got to go through the Sigil gate. If you want to go to the Vestus, you got to go through the Bazaar gate, which randomly jumps between the bazaars.
Exactly.
To use the Bazaar gate, you just need to have some sort of good that you intend to trade on the other side.
And we need an iron bar for Sigil.
Those can be gotten all over the place.
Yes, those no problem.
Okay. Well, it seems...
You can have it back once we get out of here.
In fact, doubtless, in the Ivlium Bazaar, since it's right by the Sigil gate, you could probably find someone selling iron bars, because people would need to buy keys.
They won't be able to see me.
Through divination.
Yeah, so it's
If someone uses a spell, I'm going to look into my crystal ball and see what Hartmann's up to, they won't see shit.
and that way you can't be
Beautiful.
tracked by the Gith.
And make it harder. They'd have to visually eyeball you the whole time.
Yeah.
Alright.
Which
I
can
am the
use.
one that they're looking at.
I can use plenty of.
And who
stuff.
knows what they're up to since the monk took off on you, so.
Exactly, and I can use plenty of spells and stuff to just hide ourselves for a couple hours.
Alright. That sounds good.
That way, if we're stuck in a town or something, we notice the Gith is following us. We can just use for instance.
And Musharraf has been in Sigil, so he might be able to help. At
I'm
least navigate you through faster.
And I'm proficient with disguise.
Yeah.
I'm fairly stealthy. I can slip away if necessary.
Alright.
I think we got this plan kind of...
Started to. So what else other kind of stuff do you want to talk about with Sabass of Thay that you haven't brought up? I still have some things here on my 2 pages of what Sabass knows.
Let's see.
He's told you about his end of the horde of Tiamat. He's told you that Tiamat is alive and mortal and where she is.
Could we pause
He's-
a moment? I just have to urinate.
He's mentioned that that the cults of elemental evil haven't heard in a while. This can pause. I'm just kind of going reviewing my notes
I know.
anyway.
I was just
He hasn't
on
heard.
pause.
He hasn't told you everything that he could say about that, though. He's basically told you about the threat of what the war could be for your end, but that undoing the Knights of Io would greatly ease that. He doesn't know anything specific about Cravane's backstory, but he can have one of his research assistants go dig up some records about her, in Eltabar, potentially. He told you what he knew about Hecate, and that to be careful about going to Evermeet, because the elves are probably going to be hostile if a couple of non-elves show up on their back door wanting in.
Oh yeah. Which I'm really glad he told us.
Well, the question is like, the elves of Evermeet and the Red Wizards of Thay are about as close to being exact opposites of each other. And so his view of Evermeet being super dangerous could entirely just because, well, to a Red Wizard of Thay, yeah, you wouldn't want to go to fucking Evermeet. It would suck.
But having this Red Wizard of Thay, I feel would also take a lot less time to get to Faerun.
Yeah, because you just have to get back to Ribcage.
Yeah, which is literally like portal there, portal back, good.
And then walk downstairs in your home.
Right?
And then you just gotta, and like I said, he says he knows a gate in the city of Eltabar that will take you to the mountains near where the Well of Dragons was, and then you can just from there get up into the Anarok Desert to find Tiamat. Before she can resurrect the Lich of Samaster.
And so for the magic, does it also affect the weapons? And for example, the decanter of endless water. Could I still use that whenever we're like?
If you're
Sigil?
too deep into the Outlands, no. And Sigil, even though it's at the center of the Outlands, it doesn't count for that.
All right, so that's still
Magic still works in Sigil, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
You just can't use planar magic to travel to and from Sigil. You have to use one of Sigil's portals. That's the only real restriction.
So if we go from Ribcage to Sigil, I'll still have my powers in Sigil.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just the closer you get to it, the less.
If you were to try to, well, you can't physically walk to Sigil because it floats above an infinitely tall mountain peak.
Yeah.
As you get closer to the spire, which is what they call the
Yeah.
infinitely tall mountain,
But
yeah, there's no way to ever climb up to the top of it or get close enough. Sigil's only accessible through the good portals, and those are ultimately controlled by the Lady of Pain. Let's see, there is one thing, two things.
Let's see here.
He's giving you the proposition, he's told you his routes.
Oh, if I could ask, nothing, we just said rehashing everything. Going Sigil, I still have my powers inside Sigil. It's just walking to it, I wouldn't get any powers.
That's fine.
Yeah, so it's like, if we teleport there through the gates, then I'd still have my powers and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
That way, if nothing else, I can at least heal you past your healing potions. Because I do have.
one healing potion?
That's cool, dude. I got a healing ward and cure wounds.
Good.
That only affects other people, but that's why I stay in the back.
Well,
Yeah,
if
like
you want,
how
if you
we-
want a healing potion, man, I got a greater one.
That's cool, dude. Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna start using some of these cantrips. I can only use these once a day, right?
Cantrips?
The Chill Touch and Acid Splash.
I'll need to recheck that. I think Magic Initiate.
Yeah, no, I can use each of these once a day, including Natasha's Hideous Laughter.
Okay.
Ooh, maybe I'll just think of Thunderwave as more like a screech. There's like just the cries of dead.
Yeah, something that makes it sound sinister and horrible. This roaring thunder of screaming souls.
All you hear is the echo of dead souls through the wave.
So he asked, you did mention that you had found yourself in possession of a devastation orb of all things.
Yes, and through the Devastation Orb, do you have any knowledge of how to refill it with possible different kinds of magic?
Not off the top of my head, but I could certainly get access to such things. You know, if I could have some information for you upon your return,
That would
you
be
come back.
Fantastic. And if anything, I would
What do you know about this orb? Like, where did it come from?
So, from all the knowledge that I have gained from it, it was originally part of the Horde of the Dragon Queen, is how I first came to it, as Crowbane gave it to me as a token of good luck, pretty much. Token of, if you do this, there is more to come. And I was just holding on to it. But I did check before, and it was filled with earth magic. But as soon as I checked it in Avernus, I noticed that it was completely empty. Not like I take it out and I show them, like, the ball is clear, it doesn't have any magic in it anymore.
Huh.
Where do you suppose it could have gone? Or if it was sapped?
It could have been...
This is probably recreated for you. This is not the actual original orb you had, but something about the nature of how you were pulled into Avernus against the rules of the gods had brought this with you, apparently. And so, yes, you have an unformatted one. Do you know which cult made this originally?
If I remember correctly, it was, what were they called? The,
Cult of...
the red or fire cultists. What were they called? I mean, it should be back in my logs. Let me flip through my old journal. La-di-da-di-da.
Pull up your journal entry on your menu.
And click pause real quick so we can examine Temple of Elemental Evil, Halia, Thornton, Dwarf Miner, Blacklight, Green Dragon, Surprise, Circle Shepherd, Treasure Map, haha. And it was originally created in the entire Baslimer, but from last thing I know of this one, it was created by the fire cultists in near the Winter Woods, to the best of my knowledge.
No, I'd have to look back through records, but as I say, the old cults of elemental evil haven't been heard from in centuries. It's weird that they'd be popping up.
Oh, the cult of elemental water. I pull out my other ascending stone. I have connection to that too. In fact, last time I talked
When you pick it up and touch it, you get an ad for, once again, asking you to come to the Dixie Pig and Dis to try out their barbecue.
I stop and I look at it. I'm tired of that. But yes, I also have a ascending stone to the water cultists.
The water cult. I have some Sahuagin allies. They might know some things. You could potentially arrange to have you talk with them once we get you back on Faerun and see what they might know.
We're rolling, right?
Huh?
Rolling?
Yeah.
Making sure.
So, alright. Anything else that you would like to discuss with this Archmage before you head on out the door?
See, we've already asked him about possible getting our bodies back. We have...
Which he said, such things aren't unknown, but it's gonna
take some time and...
Yeah, some heavy feet.
Yeah.
Heavy lifting.
I'm obviously... No. Thanks.
Like questions you might have for a guy who's knowledgeable about magic in the universe.
Yeah, of course, we don't have any questions.
I do.
You do?
I just can't remember
I
them.
know.
Once I woke up from Hecate's Pond, I've gained some cantrips in magic instead of just
Oh, Hecate must have initiated you into the ways of magic. Well, you'd have an easier time if you ever wished to diversify your skills and become a proper wizard. Although that would detract from your ability to attain true mastery in the druidic arts, so that would be up to you.
Speaking of true mastery in the druidic arts, I know that you are an archmage. Do you know of any archdruids? Oh.
And Thay, none, but the Emerald Enclave, which I'm sure you've heard of, being a member of a druidic order, had its founding not too far away in a neighboring land called Chisanta, which is south, just across the Wizard's Reach from Thay.
Yes, actually I knew of a man named Falcon who was a part of the Emerald Enclave. He wasn't necessarily a druid himself, but he was part of the main people.
They have their influence all across the world, them and the Zentarim and the Harpers. Those damn do-gooder Harpers always sticking their noses in business that they shouldn't be involved in.
Yeah, some of them do need to take a step back, I will admit that. A lot of them are way too egotistical to be true druids. They're focused on the power that they get, not the actual faith in nature or love for life. But I can't think of anything else I need to ask you.
Not at the moment.
No?
Is there any good way we can get in touch with you after this?
You know where I am.
We'll be back as soon as we can. Let's see.
I assume if we come into the city.
And do you have anything of, I mentioned the book before, but you said you might know of someone else who might be willing to trade for it.
I could find a buyer for it, or I know people who could help you find a buyer for it in Byzantor once you're back home. There's a kingdom full of magic users, so there'll be interested parties who'd want to buy it. It might take you a couple of days to track a buyer down, especially if you want to get the price that you want. And since it's used, you probably shouldn't expect any more than like 25,000 gold for a used copy.
Well, by any chance, is there anything you're willing to trade with it? Due to you would then have this book for whenever you need it next, and I know that you can possibly find another realm to make it recharge a whole lot faster.
Which books are you? Not the Constitution, but the
No,
Charisma?
yeah, it's the Tome of Leadership and Influence.
Speaking of which, I have such a similar book.
I'm not a magic item salesman.
I understand.
The stuff I have acquired, I didn't acquire it just so I can trade it for any random books.
Well, is there anything
If
else?
you want, I could just send you a line of credit in the city of Byzantor that you could redeem once you're back for, say,
Speaking of which, do you want to trade this one for the Constitution book?
You've tried that before.
I know. Just wasn't interested, but
I got enough of that. I need Constitution, dude. I know you need it too, but, like,
what?
Constitution 12, what's yours?
I have
Oh,
11. Yeah, I have 11.
Yeah, you might need it, but
That's fine.
the goddess of Hecate gave it to me for a reason. And I'm sure she did the same with the necklace, but I feel you need that more now until we can be more prepared, especially if we're going to be passing right by the threshold.
Tome of Clear Thought. It's a very ominous looking tome.
It's for clear thoughts?
Okay, it's a very rare item. Roll a D100.
Go for it. Him or I?
Me.
Okay.
It's always me, Mikey.
I think you got mine.
Yeah, go for it. There's a couple right
It's your
there.
books, the Zach rolls.
I know, I was just looking for, like, the right ones. Couldn't see them for a sec. There it is. 43.
Okay, so half of 25 is what?
That'd be 12.5.
He'll offer you 13,000 gold in a line of credit in Byzantor that you can redeem once you're in Thay. Him for the book is what he'd offer you, but he can't. That's what he can have available, or you can just hold on to it.
I'll just hold on to it. That's okay, man. I was just figuring you might want one of these cool books, but it's cool. I'll hold on.
Wise wizard. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he
I
is
have
wise.
books.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, considering that we're pushing 2 o'clock, I guess we'll wrap up there.
So next time we should be heading out to Sigil.
Next time on PLANESCAPE Adventures.
Yep.
All right.
Sigil, the death, the life.
Excellent. Until then, we'll see y'all when we see y'all.
Deuce.